Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has crashed below a major 3-week long uptrend, pushing the price into a bearish weekly candle close. We're going to dive into the charts today to talk about how far this crash might continue and what the recent price action means for Bitcoin on both the short time frame and higher time frame charts, including new potential structures developing on the 4-hour time frame. As always, before we get into all that though, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel, and if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving into the charts on a 4-hour time frame here, let's talk about the last 24 hours of price action and what a crazy time it's been before we dive into our analysis. So taking a look at the charts here, clearly Bitcoin has had a little bit of a rough time alongside the rest of the asset market because of the tariffs that we talked about in the last video, and how, that's just been slowly absorbed into the market as they come into play. So that was obviously quite bearish for the market and unexpected because Trump did not mention any of it in the inauguration. And so when unexpected news happens, we generally see a much larger reaction because none of that has been priced in, right? So 10% correction here on Bitcoin. And if we take a look at total 3, altcoins have been absolutely decimated in the last 24 to 48 hours. We had a little bit of a bearish structure over here, but in the last video, we expected that move to take us to retest our macro uptrend and the 200 EMA. But as we can see here, we've fallen below that, as well as this massive level of support at 950 billion. And total 3 is now currently headed for this next base of support at $840 billion. Taking a look at market data, we can see just how insane the last 24 hours has been. We've seen a massive spike in liquidations. This has been the largest spike in liquidations that we've seen since all the way back in December 2024, the 9th of December. So over 2 months now of price action that this has, I guess, engulfed in terms of liquidations and amount of people getting wrecked. As we can see here, $1.7 billion of liquidations in the last 24 hours, and a massive proportion of that, 931 million of that, was longs. So it's Monday now, the market is opening back up, and we've got a big week ahead of us to figure out whether or not we're going to see this correction continue on the higher time frame as Bitcoin re-enters this daily chart range that we have over here, and whether or not that correction is going to take us all the way down to $91,000, what we're looking for in the bounce, and what structures do we have here on the short time frame that potentially give us an indication for reversal points. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC. We can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So starting off our analysis on the weekly time frame, let's talk about Bitcoin's recent weekly candle close. So if we take a look here, we can see Bitcoin has printed quite a bearish candle for the week. Not only have we seen a deviation and rejection from the range high for, this sort of weekly channel that we have here, but also the price has gone on to both engulf the prior week's green candle, as well as test the midline for that weekly range. So the midline is a really important level because if we fall below the midline, naturally we have more levels of resistance, on the top side above the midline than we do below that midline. And so moving closer to the bottom, the higher the probability is that we go on to retest the range low for this macro range here, all the way down at $91,000 to $92,000. And of course, the more we generally retest those lower levels of support and retest that sort of level of demand, the more likely it is that we finally see that buy wall actually absorbed, the demand exhausted, and that therefore would push the price into continued bearish movement. So if we zoom out here on the weekly time frame, we can see that below the base of our weekly range here at 91k, we do have a very, very significant sort of volume gap over here, right? So it tells us that falling below that level of support and sell side liquidity here at $89,000, Bitcoin is likely to see quite an aggressive retracement back downwards that could take us to levels as low as $82,000 and $76,000, right? Those are the next available levels of support or potential demand. And we can see $76,000 currently has confluence with our 50 EMA on the weekly time frame. Moving over onto the daily chart here, guys, things are objectively not looking all that great here for Bitcoin either, right? So if we take a look at what this recent crash has done on the daily time frame, essentially in losing that uptrend as well as 100k support, Bitcoin has gone on to re-enter a previous horizontal range, right? That was from $100,000 down to $91,000, and it wasn't until we were able to get a daily chart breakout above that range, flipping that level as support as we'd failed to done in this previous rally over here, that would actually facilitate a retest of the range high or the all-time high, and in closing above that, facilitate a bullish continuation, right? So in failing to close above that level and seeing, you know, numerous rejections from lower level support, and eventually, I guess, seeing bullish exhaustion, and we had the tariffs come in from Trump as well, which pushed the market a lot lower unexpectedly. We have now lost 100k support and are moving back into this daily chart range, once again suggesting that we have a potential to move downwards into retesting the range low at $91,000. Now, support is support until it's not, obviously, right? So until we've fallen into this sort of liquidity zone that we can see here, starting at $95,000, and you know, this is printed on the Smart Money Concepts indicator, we can see we have a massive amount of like liquidity here, right? A lot of buying volume seen historically in the past, and all supporting the potential bounce of the price on this level here, right? So that's what the daily chart tells us. Things aren't looking great. We have a potential to enter the range, but on a daily time frame, we are definitively sitting at really, really high levels and wide levels of support. So that takes us into the short time frame charts now. What can we see on the short time frame to signal a reversal at these levels, if we're seeing a signal for those reversals, and what would conversely signal a bearish continuation as we move into this liquidity zone and into the base of that zone at $91,000. So if we move over onto a 4-hour chart, we can see this new potential structure that we're developing here on the 4-hour time frame, namely our descending parallel channel. So on the top side here, we can see a clear downtrend. We've got 3 points of contact with that downtrend, and on the bottom side, we have a trend line running parallel to that upper one, creating or mapping out our lower lows. So we're still waiting for that point of contact here on that trend line here on this third retest, but as we can see, Bitcoin is at support here, or retesting that level of support at 95 to 96,000. So potentially we might not see that contact occur, and we know on a daily time frame we are at support as well. So what this parallel channel tells us, particularly entered into from the bottom side up, means that it is a channel of accumulation, or a pattern of accumulation rather than distribution, right? Therefore leading to a bullish continuation on a break of our upper trend line, with a measured move being the height of the channel applied to, I guess, this later breakout point. I've just randomly put it at the bottom of the channel there, which could take us from around 112.5 to potentially maybe $113,000 naturally, depending on which point Bitcoin actually breaks the trend line. If we break it higher, the measured move will take us higher. If we break it lower, the measured move will take us lower, right? And it kind of gives us a little bit of, I guess, context for the price action moving forward now, right? Because if we maintain this lower trend line and those lower levels of support that we have here on the daily time frame as well as the short time frame, the overall trajectory of the short time frame has the potential to be bullish, right? If we bounce on these levels of support and we see a continuation to retest the range high and a breakout, we become extremely bullish. So this is our sort of, I guess, neutral consolidation zone. We're waiting to see what happens within this sort of channel of price action. If we fall below our trend line, however, and our level of support at $95,000, we can most likely then expect a continued bearish move towards the range low, the next available level of support being $91,000 to $92,000, right? We can see that level retested and mapped out here on the short time frame very, very clearly. And if we move below sell-side liquidity, just as I said on the weekly chart, that is when we enter a macro bearish trajectory, and we are very likely to see quite a volatile and aggressive continued bearish move for Bitcoin. While we're at support though, let's talk about the trajectory for a short-term recovery. So I've zoomed into the 1 hour chart here, and we can see the downtrend that has mapped out the recent downwards move towards the base of our parallel channel, right? And so if we want to see a breakout and a reversal in the short time frame, we need to see a structural break. So pushing above this trend line over here, and then a retracement to the next available change of character levels or the prior highs in our downtrend. Starting off at $99.4 thousand. That is the very first level of resistance we need to break, ending at 100.4, right? Also has confluence with our 50 EMA as well on the hourly time frame. And then beyond that, we have our next change of character level at the prior high at 102.2 thousand, again with confluence perfectly at the 50 EMA on the hourly chart. And then of course the next move takes us to retest the top of our parallel channel, where we have resistance as well, horizontal resistance at 106,000. Closing above that on an hourly chart, we can expect a bullish continuation to those upper ranges of resistance on the daily and the weekly time frame, namely 108.3 and $110,000. Taking a look at momentum in the RSI here, we can see some sort of promising signs. We are seeing a little bit of bullish divergence, right? RSI is printing higher lows, even though the price action is printing lower lows. So that's potentially leading indication that this is the zone of support that we are going to start to see a bounce. Whether or not that bounce is strong enough to actually push us though, is going to be something we have to watch out for in the price action. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!